And now, from a secret location somewhere in Nevada, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two men having a beer break next to the Ark of the Covenant. It's Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Holy Spielberg. Who wrote that one, Bob? Who sent that in?
Why do you care?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Stuart Moncure? Some random
Yeah.
from Nevada? I'm sorry. Stuart Moncure.
Yeah, there we go. Wow.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
That's announcer Bob. Hey, Babalula.
You like how I make like I'm having a conversation with him?
Yeah, really, that's totally manufactured.
Completely, entirely.
Like most of the conversations you have with people.
Oh, cruel.
How cruel world. Speaking of cruel, the Lakers.
Yeah, well. They got to pull it out, man. They got to pull it out.
Oh, they will. Wade, what is happening with movies, Wade? Why do movies suck so bad?
I don't know. Well, I know. Of course I know. It's a much bigger conversation and one that is really arduous. But you know what? I had dinner the other day with a friend of ours who works for a very prominent production company. Will not say the name. Don't want to get anybody into trouble here. But the conversation turned to the principal of the company that this person works for and what this individual is currently excited about in movies. And it made me want to cry. Because I thought, really? Really? What are you, 5 years old? It was that stupid juvenile. I'm not going to say.
Well, okay, you told so little of that story.
I know
that the audience is going to be like, okay.
No, but suffice to say, here's what you take from that. What you take from that is that the people who are running these companies, who are walking into work every day, who are already worth millions and millions of dollars, people who have nothing to lose really in this business. I mean, it's not going to hurt them to walk into work and say, you know what, I think I want to make a movie about. About people in the 1950s and how they were sort of coping with, issues. I mean, you could do that, and you could make that little movie and still survive.
Can I translate that?
Yeah.
I want to be fired. That's really what they.
Yeah, but
they woke up one day and said, "I want to be fired."
No, but these are people who can't get fired because they're the ones that do the firing. This is the person who is like the big cheese.
No, there's always the stockholders. There's always the stockholders.
Screw the stockholders.
That's not true. That's who they work for.
No, they don't. They work for audiences.
No, they have to fool the audiences to see their crappy
there's
movies.
The problem. There's
so
the problem.
The stockholders can be happy.
They're fooling audiences. That's the problem. You don't fool audiences. You don't even try to. That's the problem.
Well, the problem is that
I digress.
The problem is that you are
I'm a purist.
You're a purist. You have a quixotic. You have a quixotic desire.
A Don Quixotic desire.
A Don Quixotic desire.
Yes.
Quixotic's a word.
It is a word.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Although I said quixotic for some reason. A quixotic desire to see movies revert back to the way it was before people cared about opening weekend box office grosses.
I'd frankly like to see painting revert to the way that it was in the Flemish period too.
What, you want cave paintings?
Yeah, no, I want Rembrandt. I want people to paint like Rembrandt again.
What's wrong with Andy Warhol or Basquiat?
DVDs.
Wait, here's the thing. You realize Lion King is coming out on Blu-ray.
I know.
How awesome is that?
Not very awesome.
Not what? You don't like Lion King?
No. That's when they lost me. That's when the Disney animated films lost me.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Lion King was great.
Lion King is Hamlet.
Okay.
I mean, they were like, it's the first Disney animated film that is not based on pre-existing material, and you see it and you go, yeah, it is. It's Hamlet.
Well, whatever.
I mean, come on, Hakuna Matata, whatever.
Release date not announced. Although June 7, Wade.
Yes.
Another year. Mike.
What? Oh, Mike Lee.
Mike Lee, another year.
Another year, as in the title of a movie.
Yes.
Yes.
And by the way, what happened with Julian Schnabel's Mural?
I know that came and went. What the hell happened?
It's coming out. Anchor. Get this.
Yeah.
July 12th, coming out on Blu-ray. Anchor Bay.
Did you see it?
I did not. I'm a huge fan of both of his other films.
Yeah, I mean that's. I'll have to. I have a screener of it at home, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Me borrow.
Yeah, I have to watch it first, but then I'll let me borrow.
Me borrow.
Yeah, you can do that.
Me borrow.
So, Yeah.
What?
Why don't we talk about
What? What are you talking about?
Muay Thai Giant? May I talk about Muay Thai Giant for a moment?
Actually, can I say one more thing that's very important?
Go ahead.
Before Muay Thai Giant, which no one cares
Go
about.
ahead. That's fine.
On DVD File,
Yes.
which you and I used to write for.
Yes.
I wrote for DVD File for years.
I did too.
And I'm a huge fan of them. They still do great work at DVDfile.com. They are reporting that a Blu-ray edition of Monty Python and the Holy Grail will be announced by Sony very soon.
Right.
And we really hope that happens. Because I don't know how many Monty Python and the Holy Grail DVDs I can own.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole bunch of different releases.
There's a lot of them.
They all have different extras.
What I want to see Spamalot, which is the musicalized version of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which I had the enormous privilege of seeing on Broadway with the original cast, minus one member. But that was a phenomenal production. Unbelievable. I mean, seriously, while you can still get that cast to come back for a movie, make the damn movie. I mean, really, Spamalot would be a phenomenal movie.
They really should make that movie.
Why? Why is no one even talking about making Spamalot into a movie? Why?
I don't know. You know what?
Tim Curry, man. Tim freaking Curry. Get him out there.
See,
it's hysterical.
You got to hope that that older folks will see it because it's Monty Python.
And you know who directed it on Broadway?
It was Mike Nichols.
Yeah. He knows how to make movies.
No, he doesn't.
A little bit.
God, Mike, isn't it amazing that, like, of all those old school guys, Mike Nichols is still around?
I know.
How many
Speaking of, not that this has anything to do with that. This is completely different. But there's a little animated short. It's incredibly irreverent. I'm not even going to tell anybody how to find it. You just got to dig for it. But it's an Easter Bunny thing. It's got just Google Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and Jesus, and you'll come up with a little animated short. One of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. Really crude animation. These guys must have spent $150 making this thing, but it is truly hysterical.
Is it Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and Jesus?
I don't think the Tooth Fairy was in it.
Okay.
No. But it's basically...
Oh, Jesus versus the Easter Bunny?
Oh, my gosh. It's the funniest thing ever. It really is. It's truly hilarious. Now you're going to watch it. Okay, fine. Go ahead and watch it while I talk about Muay Thai Giant. There's a lot of great stuff going on and there's a good reason why I'm starting the show with this. Oh, there you go. You really are watching it. There you go.
I'm delivering candy to all the children.
Oh, jeez.
No, I gave it up for Lent. Come on, have some candy. It's my birthday. It's not my birthday. Easter is supposed to be when we celebrate my resurrection. It's my day, too. Did you die on the cross for the sins of mankind? Yes. Really? Maybe a little. Just another day for the candy. Or us. Jesus, are you going to hurt me?
It's too funny.
So no. But my angel Michael will be watching.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael.
Okay.
Yo.
I'm really waiting for you to finish watching this. Is that what I'm doing? I'm suffering our listeners to
Got
listen
20
to
seconds
this.
left.
Okay, fine.
8 months later.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
This is 8 months later.
8 months later. This is too funny.
I already told you to watch it all.
There
you go.
The comedy climax was a visual joke.
Yes.
So I don't want to explain it.
Okay, Muay Thai Giant.
Oh yeah.
Yes, thank you. You know what? A lot of the filmmaking that's going on in Thailand, especially in martial arts films, is phenomenal. I got to say, this is not great, but it's interesting. Now, this guy Nathan Jones, who's like some kind of Australian wrestler, and who's huge, enormous, giant, big, massive man. He's like 7 feet. He's huge. He's all muscle. He's the guy that stars in this. And it's interesting because I have not seen a Thai martial arts film that has starred a Westerner, much less anybody this big. But you know what? Prakya Pankau, who is huge, whose name I'm sure I'm mutilating, who's been kind of the big go-to guy for a lot of these films, most of them with Tony Jaa, is the mover and shaker behind this, and it's got its moments. I got to say that it's really it's got its moments. This should have been some kind of a crossover film. Probably could have had a limited release, but apparently Magnolia didn't see fit to do so. So it is now on Blu-ray as a part of their Magnet line, which is the genre division of Magnolia. And if you just want to see a good Thai kickboxing film with an unusual star, why not? Go for it. Muay Thai Giant. Now, that leads me to segue into the subject of Magnolia. Mark, as long as we're talking about Magnolia...
Love the movie.
Thank you. But I'm talking about the distribution company. Magnolia and Landmark, all for sale. Mark
that is
Cuban.
bizarre.
Not at all. I predicted it. I knew it was going to happen.
did not.
I did. Look, Mark Cuban, he had an idea. You go day and date, and that suddenly this was all going to take off, and you make the movies.
That was a bunch of crap.
Well, of course, that was the only reason he acquired all of this, so that he would have this multiple-pronged releasing strategy thing. He was going to make it all digital, and people were going to watch at home, and they were going to buy the DVDs and go to the theaters, and they were going to video on demand, and everything was going to be this giant release strategy, and he was going to prove everybody wrong, and of course he didn't, so now he just wants to sell, because it ain't working out like he thought. He's realizing the movie business is a little bit harder than he thought.
You can't just buy his way in.
No, you can't. So, just want to say, this is, Muay Thai Giant, get it while you can, because the company's getting sold. And he's saying, it's got to be the right price, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, 50 Cent. By the way, we got a lot of crap this week. I don't want anybody sitting here thinking that we're going to be getting down to some, special edition of Gone with the Wind or Star Wars or something. It ain't happening. Not this week. Not this week. This is one of those weeks.
Yeah, but look at that Criterion down there.
I know, there's some good stuff. I'm not saying there isn't some good stuff, but there's a lot of crap. So get ready for a cavalcade of crap. Okay?
You know what? By the way, you'll be seeing that in the metadata when you download the. I'm going to write that. I'm going to write the metadata right now.
Cavalcade of crap. All right, there you go.
I'm writing the metadata early.
I'm
writing the metadata during the show.
Lionsgate on Blu-ray. 50 Cent in Blood Out. Getting in was easy.
Dud.
Yeah, it is kind of a dud. Not worth it on DVD or on Blu-ray. And anyway, whatsoever, this is just so generic gang hood movie stuff. And I totally respect that 50 Cent wants to kind of be the man and start making movies. But, honestly, Mark, what does not ring true about the cover of this Blu-ray?
That 50 cents on it.
No. Look at. You can tell what character he plays. It's very intentional. Look at him. Look at the picture.
He's a cop.
That's it. 50 Cent's a cop. No, sorry, don't
He's
buy it.
gone on the other side.
I don't buy it. Honestly,
the super thug is playing a cop. My God!
Do you know how long it took me to accept Ice-T as a detective in Law and Order?
6 minutes.
I can't make that jump for another rapper. Honestly, I just can't. It's killing me. So
somehow you can't buy 50 Cent as a cop, but you can buy Ice-T as like the family comedy man of the 2000s.
No, I can't do that. I can't buy that either.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Roger Corman Presents is something you should be very wary of, because Roger Corman doesn't have anything to do with these movies. He's just slapping his name on them as a presentation thing. This was on Sci-Fi last year. And this is another one of those, let's kind of find now that we've used up all the good movie monsters, let's just fuse them, like Manimal and there's like a whole bunch of them that they've come out recently. Most of them with the Maneater series, like Dino Croc and all that kind of stuff.
All those movies are putting sci-fi on the map, which is really kind of a shame.
Well, this is
because sci-fi was becoming a bit of a prestige name.
Yeah, I know. It was. Well, now they're making a lot of crap original programming. Boy, I got to tell you, this is Dinoshark. Yes, Dinoshark. You heard me correctly. This is just stupid. This is like somebody said, "Hey, why don't we just merge Spielberg films? We'll do it'll be like Jaws meets Jurassic Park." It's exactly what it tries to be. It's not good. It's really not good. But you know what? Honestly, the Corman name will get them somewhere, and I wish them well, but really not good. Blowing through the crap here, by the way. Here's one that I definitely think you should pick up. Dementia 13, Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Now, Dementia 13, for those of you that don't know, is one of Francis Coppola's first films. There is some dispute as to what his actual first film was, because there's a nudie cutie in there, Tonight I'm Yours, which may or may not have been his first film. But a lot of people more or less acknowledge that Dementia 13 is sort of his first real film. And this is the way it's been touted. This is his big screen debut, blah, 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 blah. And, Mark, you ever seen Dementia 13?
I have not.
It's not bad. It's interesting. It's not a Coppola film.
It almost feels like a Brian De Palma film.
It does. But you can tell that he's got talent and he's trying to do something interesting, and he's been given an interesting opportunity just fresh out of film school. And so he's, taking a little bit of money and trying to sort of make a bit of a resume piece out of it. All right, fair enough. Not a lot by way of extras on here. I really, really could have used a commentary because that's the one thing that this has never had in any of its million previous incarnations. But it has previously been only available in so many public domain releases, which are all dreadful. This is a DVD and a pretty good Blu-ray, and I didn't think the Blu-ray would be that good, but it is, actually. 5.1 audio, you get the trailer, you get a little bit of poster art, and a restoration demo, which is, middling, but they actually went and found a 35mm print and did a pretty good job mastering it. So I'll tell you, it's for a weird kind of almost exploitation-y murder mystery thing that has no bearing whatsoever on Coppola's career. It doesn't really look like a Coppola film. If you are into Coppola, it's interesting. It certainly is interesting. The Terror is another film that I am particularly keen on. And this is a real Corman film. This was produced by Corman and directed by Corman. And you know what's really interesting about The Terror? The Terror is featured in our documentary, Schlock, The Secret History of American Movies, which Ray Green and I made some years ago. And The Terror is really a pivotal film in it because it's got Jack Nicholson in it in one of his very first roles alongside Boris Karloff.
That's a great 6 degrees of separation.
It is. Boris Karloff and Jack Nicholson.
Yes, in the same movie.
In the same movie.
Just like Robert De Niro and Albert Brooks.
That's right.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Taxi Driver.
That's right. All of them from the 70s. Well, this actually is, just at the end of the 60s. But actually not bad. It's really bizarre. And, Jack Nicholson is... he's supposed to be a guy from Napoleon's army, and he winds up stranded on a beach. And Boris Karloff is this weird guy with this big castle, and there's all this real gothic mumbo-jumbo, none of it that makes any sense. But it's really interesting. A lot of people directed this film. Corman took the directing credit, but he let all kinds of other people just have a shot at it, one of whom, by the way, was Coppola, and The Last Day of Shooting was directed by Jack Nicholson. Because he said, hey, you let everybody else have a shot at this, why not me? So Jack Nicholson
also wrote or co-wrote the Monkees film Head.
I know. Sweet, huh?
Awesome.
Those are good days, man. Those are good days.
Good
decade.
times.
Good times. I'm getting through the crap here, Mark. I'm bullying through. So I'm going to let you get started on some docs, sort through, see what we want to talk about on the doc front. But I'm going to move on to The Dorm That Dripped Blood from Synapse, who releases a lot of good exploitation stuff, a lot of good cult stuff. This is also a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. The uncensored director's cut, not any better by any means than any other cut that you've ever seen, and this thing's been cut to death over the years. But Dorm That Dripped Blood is kind of cheesy, but in a good way. And this actually features some great extras. The audio commentary with directors Jeffrey Obrow and Stephen Carpenter, actually very, very informative. You also get interviews with the composer, Christopher Young, who's a very good composer, by the way. He's been around. I didn't realize he's been around this long, because this is a 1981 film. And the makeup guy, Matthew Mungle.
His name's Mungle.
It's okay. I really don't know how to react to that. Anyway, no, this is pretty cool. And for some reason, they include a reversible cover with, so that you can kind of flip the cover and have alternate artwork. I don't know what the point of that is. But anyway, it's a surprisingly good Blu-ray transfer from a 35mm answer print of the original director's cut, which a lot of people thought was originally lost. So, again, not any better than any other cut. But if you'd heard about Death Dorm, which was apparently the original title of this thing when in its alternate cut, not bad. So it's it's a cheesy movie, but it's one of those cheesy movies that stood the test of time. And then still in the exploitation jungle, before we move on to some docs, and then we got some real movies later, so I'm just getting the exploitation junk out of the way here. Is a Radley Metzger film, The Licorice Quartet, which is from Cult Epics, who's released some Radley Metzger stuff before. This is on Blu-ray. Cult Epics has not released any Blu-rays before.
What?
I know. Cult Epics finally getting into the BD game. Anyway, this is, Radley Metzger was kind of like the softcore nude guy that was not Russ Meyer, right? So... he sort of held down the other end of the Russ Meyer spectrum at a certain point, he wound up making better films than Russ Meyer, although the best of his films don't even compare with Russ Meyer. The thing that I love on here is an audio commentary with Radley Metzger and Michael Bowen. Bowen, who is featured again in our great documentary, Schlock, The Secret History of American Movies, and who was, in our documentary, he's featured because he was Doris Wishman's biographer. But he's very much an expert on exploitation film, and Michael's a good guy. We spent a good lot of time with him for our doc, and hearing him do the commentary with Radley Metzger brought a tear to my eye. This is, do I really need to tell you what this is about? It's got naked women, and it's people copulating. There you go. And by the way, the Licorice Quartet, it's spelled Lickerish. And, of course, this is 1970. Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice was considered too tame in Radley Metzger's world, so why not? Honestly, why not? A little 11-minute featurette on here on the making of the film, really good transfer, and, give Cult Epics a little bit of applause for going Blu-ray on us.
I don't want to.
And then lastly, on the cult front, want to give a shout-out for the Warner Archive release. Remember, you've got to go to warnerarchive.com to find these. They have released Hold On. Mark, do you remember what Hold On is? This is originally an MGM film. This is one of those things that they inherited. This is Herman's Hermits in Hold On.
Oh, yeah.
See, you were talking about the Monkees in Head earlier. You forgot a lot of bands. Once the Beatles started showing up in movies, all of these other bands wanted to get on the act. And this is not bad, actually. MGM went and got Herman's Hermits in a really fun movie. And I honestly think this is a pretty great little weird, eccentric, unknown kind of a teen thing from, well, I mean, that's what it is. It's Herman's Hermits.
What?
Most people don't even know who Herman's Hermits are anymore. But they were part of that whole, Beatles and Monkees thing. So there we go. I'm done with the culty stuff.
Yeah.
Dock me out.
Well, Wade, here's what we have to begin with. We have the DVD and Blu-ray of a 4-part PBS series called Making Stuff. And this is...
Well, I've actually seen some of this.
Yeah, this is interesting stuff. This is, it's very specialized, but if you actually were to pop this into your player, you'd
learn how to make a player?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be stronger, cleaner, smaller, and smarter.
Well, you'd learn how to be a player.
Yeah, a player.
Oh, yeah.
You learn all sorts of... Wait, here's what you learn.
What do you learn?
The only reason why steel is stronger than iron
Yes.
is because steel has carbon in it.
Ah, wow.
Look at that. Huh?
So,
but there's actually other substances that are even stronger, like Kevlar. And spider silk is actually stronger than steel, Wade. This is what you learn.
So Spider-Man could really kick the Man of Steel's butt.
That's right. You know it. And, they do break it up into chapters: stronger, cleaner, smaller, smarter. And like smaller, they talk about how like the watch was basically the very first personal computer in a weird sense.
Wow. Okay.
Because it's kind of true. Anyway, so that's Making Stuff specialized, but it's kind of cool. I have mixed feelings about the TMC miniseries Moguls and Movie Stars, A History of Hollywood.
That's that Peter Bart thing, right?
This is... although that kind of does look like Peter Bart. Although it's funny because the guy looks like your typical like.
Oh, this isn't the Peter Bart the thing that Peter Bart did.
The Peter Bart and Peter Goober thing.
No, didn't Peter Bart host something on TM
X?
No,
409.
I thought Peter Bart had some kind of thing where he was interviewing. He alone was interviewing a bunch of moguls.
Yeah,
what was that?
I think it was called Star Wars.
Yeah, whatever. No, didn't he do a thing where he was interviewing various studio heads?
You go on IMDb and look that up.
I'm going to find it.
While I talk about the TMC original series, Moguls and Movie Stars. There's so much to be said about the birth of Hollywood and how Hollywood got started, how the town of Hollywood wound up getting developed, how D.W. Griffith helped bring in the feature-length era, and about the production code and the studio system. This one, Moguls and Movie Stars, it'll get you through it, but man, is it dry. It really is. It's 3 discs. There's 7 episodes broken up into decades, and it's just so dry, but it's not uninteresting. I guess if you want a primer on it, I kind of like the packaging. It looks like a little book. Yes,
I'm
Wade?
thinking of Bombs and Blockbusters.
Interesting.
That's what I'm thinking about.
So,
Which was on HBO, by the way. Moguls and Movie Stars, Bombs and Blockbusters. Yeah, it's,
HBO, TMC.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Exactly. Anyway, so Moguls and Movie Stars, interesting information, very dry presentation, but you learn all about the early Moguls like Goldwyn and Warner and Selznick and Zanuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I just wish it was a little. Ken Burns would have made that something really super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah. PBS Broken Tale: A Tiger's Last Journey. This is on Blu-ray and DVD. This is interesting stuff. It's this thing was shot by this wildlife dude, and he spent almost 2 years at the Ranthambore National Park in northern India. And they are famous for a lot of the Indian wildlife, but they're really famous for the Bengal tigers that live in this national park. And this guy, Colin Stafford Johnson, and a local guide spent 600 days in this park and meeting all the Bengal tigers. Bengal tigers, by the way, stronger than steel.
Really?
Good stuff. If you're into nature docs, good stuff. Other nature docs include Oceans.
I like tigers better than I like lions.
Oh, my.
I'm just saying. Because they have stripes.
Yes, they do. But how about zebras?
There are no tigers in Africa, by the way. You know that?
I did not know that.
There are no tigers in Africa.
Why is that?
I have friends from Africa, and they will jump all over you if you go, yeah, I like Africa because they have tigers. They will, beat you.
What if Tiger Woods plays in Africa?
No. They have lions in Africa. They have tigers in India and Southeast Asia.
Damn it.
There you go.
The things you learn on this show.
I know.
Gods at Digigods.com.
That's why all those old Tarzan things are so stupid when he's in the Africa in some jungle and a tiger will show up. They don't have tigers in Africa.
So why do you know that?
Because I have friends from Africa. It's a bone of contention with them. It might as well be polar bears in Africa.
You're out of your mind. Okay, Oceans Volume 1. This is a PBS Explorer collection, which is their fancy way of saying that they've taken 4 DVDs and thrown them into one big set. Under the Sea with Al Giddings, Visions of the Sea, Ocean Odyssey, and Treasures of the Great Barrier Reef. The one I like the best is the Great Barrier Reef stuff from Australia. It's just so gorgeous, and the photography is so gorgeous. And 2 of these, though, do have Al Giddings in it. And Al Giddings, I had never heard of this guy. It turns out he's like the American Jacques Cousteau. This guy is an incredible underwater adventurer and takes on all sorts of crazy trips and gorgeous photography, crazy fish and turtles and sea creatures you never knew existed. So for the oceanographer, for the sea fetishist in your family...
So if he's the American Jacques Cousteau, who would the French Weird Al Yankovic be?
I've seen Weird Al Yankovic in concert twice. I'll have you know.
That tells me a lot about you.
That's true.
Moving on.
I really did. I'm a big fan of the Wild West. I've had my what?
You and all of those Earp guys.
Yeah, I had a thing where I was reading a lot about Wyatt Earp. That's why I'm kind of into this PBS thing, Wild West Volume 1. Now, this is an American Experience collection. This is also part of the Explorer collection. And now, this is not the Wild West.
It's just the Wild West.
I don't want to get you all excited.
It's less wild than the Wild West.
Exactly.
I see.
There are 6 Blu-rays here, DVDs here.
They didn't send us the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
it's available on Blu-ray, but we didn't get it.
They probably could have fit all 6 of these onto one Blu-ray.
I know. I'm telling you, it's a thing, right?
Annie Oakley, who was one of the classic trick shooters, a woman who was a trick shooter in the late 19th century. Amazing. Buffalo Bill and his Wild West Circus. Geronimo, which is the one I was least interested in. Jesse James is great. Kit Carson is great. And, of course, Wyatt Earp, who was sort of the ultimate. I think in terms of lawmen, I think Wyatt Earp is the ultimate Western figure.
Booyah.
And Jesse James on the other side of the law is pretty much the ultimate. I really like the Jesse James one because, and Wyatt Earp's the same way. They've both become such mythic figures, but they were real people. Wyatt Earp is famous because, the OK Corral and the idea that in his entire career as a lawman, he never got shot. And that sort of added to his
mystique. Right.
And Wyatt Earp lived until like the late 1920s. I mean, he lived to help Hollywood make those early Western films.
I know, including in the one in which Chekhov gets killed. But doesn't really get.
Yeah, because Spock's like, I can pretend like the bullets aren't real. And then Kirk says, but we can't be that certain because we're just human. And then Spock gives them all mind melds so that they can pretend the bullets aren't real, and then they all live.
It's awesome.
Before we get to the great doc of the week, we have a Blu-ray of Human Planet. This is the complete series of Human Planet. This is the original BBC version, narrated by John Hurt. John Hurt.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. V for Vendetta.
Seen him on stage.
And you would be amazed how humans have populated the planet.
It's amazing.
Look, there are humans who live in the Arctic.
Yeah.
Like freezing to death, but God love them. They live in rainforest. They live in tiny islands. They live in barren deserts. I mean,
Space stations.
Space stations. I mean, you'd be surprised. Humans rule this damn place.
Yeah.
And so, Human Planet, the complete series on Blu-ray, looks gorgeous. They introduce you to some of these crazy tribes and interesting people with like almost dead languages. There's one tribe speaks this language, otherwise it'd be dead.
Does anyone at any point in this series say humans are Dabamyo?
No, but
okay.
At one point they're handed a book.
Yes.
And they think it's all about how to help them.
Yeah.
And it turns
but
out
it's
that
a cookbook.
Anyway, 20th Century America at War with Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, is he not dead yet?
No. He's not going to. Honestly, he's 80 something now, and
really
it's
is.
unreal. The guy, it just doesn't stop.
I'm sure if you saw him in person, he'd just be a doddering old fool.
Well, anyway,
don't you think?
You know what? He has hearing aids, but he's still very sharp. Very sharp. But his son Chris Wallace is on Fox News, and he's kind of like his dad, except not as damn good looking.
Who is as good looking?
No, this is from Athena. I love all that Athena stuff. That's the educational line for Acorn, and they always have these. I feel like I'm back in school, but in a good way when I watch that Athena stuff. It's really good.
The Blu-ray of the week, which I think I might just take for myself.
I know you are a Dylan man.
Is Bob Dylan's "Don't Look Back"? This is the all-time classic D.A. Pennebaker film. And the movie is all about a Dylan tour back in 1965. This is his second tour in the UK. Now, you got to understand, in 1965, it was all about the British music scene. It was Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Beatles. And here comes this kid Dylan from the United States. He's just tearing it up.
Because he goes, yeah.
Yes, he does. And there's great performances. And at this point, Dylan, he was so rebellious, singing about politics and drugs and all this stuff that was just crazy for the time. And, the movie is very rough-looking, which is how Pennebaker wanted it. Don't forget, we're talking about, stuff shot on 8mm or 16mm.
Yeah, totally.
This is not like they're not shooting on the red in 1965. So this is just an all-time classic. It looks very it's high definition because it's Blu-ray, but I have to say it looks very rough and grainy because that's the source material is rough and grainy. There is a bonus disc called 65 Revisited, which is fascinating. There's a Grail Marcus interview with D.A. Pennebaker. There's 5 uncut audio tracks, a commentary by Pennebaker, and the road manager back then, Bob Newworth, which is just fascinating. For those who maybe don't know Bob Dylan that well, they might remember the music video, a very early music video, for Subterranean Homesick Blues, where he uses the big cue cards, and each cue card has one word on it.
Oh yeah, totally.
The cue card,
that's been imitated 1,000 times.
Yeah, that's from this film.
Awesome.
So it's just it's an all-time classic. What can I tell you? Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back, Blu-ray, get it for the music lover.
Yeah.
In your life.
All right, Mark. I'm going to talk about a little foreign stuff now. No, seriously, it's just a few things, just a few foreign films this week. We'll have more next week, but I got to tell you, this movie, Three Idiots, drove me absolutely out of my bonkers.
Your bonkers?
It drove me out of my bonkers. This film became a gigantic, gargantuan monster hit in India. This is like the Titanic of India, okay? And I had heard all about it, went to a screening of it, and at the end of it, I thought, what did I just see?
What the dilly?
And I immediately emailed a friend of mine
Steve?
who's Indian,
No.
and I said, seriously, would you please answer for your people? What is up with this movie? He said, I don't know, it's terrible, and everybody thinks it's great. So, at least there are some sensible people in India, but there's just no accounting for some of the things that become popular in India. Just like here, sometimes the most popular stuff, you shake your head and you just go, I don't get it. Anyway, Amir Khan is the best thing about this. He plays one of the three guys in it, and I love Amir Khan. Amir Khan is just a great producer, a tremendous star. I'm sorry that he's in this. There is no way to describe this just bizarre, weird, quirky comedy / melodrama. This is completely insane. It's like a little bit of Forrest Gump, a little bit of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's just strange, and it's kind of a mystery at the same time. Over all the years, these guys and their friendship, and then the one that disappeared, and then there's a whole.
But are they idiots?
You know what? It's weird, melodramatic, slapstick comedy madness, and I don't recommend this to anybody unless you just want to sit there and roll your eyes and say, I don't get it. Why did that movie even get made? Slightly more on the to be recommended end of things. I am not a big fan of Alejandro Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky is, of course, he's a shock surrealist, right? He's the guy that he's one of these Spanish language surrealists who made very bizarre, surreal, odd movies back in the 1970s, and I don't think they age very well, but they continue to have a huge following. Two of them are now out on Blu-ray, The Holy Mountain and El Topo. El Topo is the one that people usually just, every once in a while you'll meet somebody really pretentious, some real just uber film snob weirdo, of whom we have plenty in the LA Film Critics, who will just say, you've never seen El Topo?
What kind of film critic are you?
It's like, you've never seen anything by Stan Brakhage? You know what, Stan Brakhage, I understand why he's important. His junk is intolerable. I can't watch it for more than 30 seconds. I just roll my eyes and I go, yeah, I get it. He scratches film and he spits on it and then he projects it and it's some kind of great weird artwork. I understand.
You know what? I understand Bob Kohler.
You do, don't you?
I'm sure Bob loves Stan Brakhage.
I don't know. Never had that conversation. But, Jodorowsky has a following, and people like all of his weird, symbolic metaphor. This is, I think he just throws weird junk in there knowing that somebody's going to try to find some symbolic meaning in it. And there probably isn't. But he's fine with that. So, anyway, both of these transfers, very good. Both of them from Anchor Bay. Really, really very good work on getting difficult films to look good on Blu-ray. And, this is no small feat because these are extremely visual films. They are by no means pristine in their elements, but they did a very, very good job of kind of restoring them to the way that they need to look. And a lot of Blu-rays of cult films, and especially older cult films that have intense visual schematics, do not necessarily make that extra effort. So Anchor Bay has really done a great number here. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the director, but a lot of people are, and if you are, you will not be disappointed. So these are, for Jodorowsky fans, must-have Blu-rays. And then, down here, Mark, let's have a debate about The Scent of Green Papaya.
Why?
I don't know. I suspect that you're a big fan. Are you?
Why would I be a big fan of it?
I don't know. I'm just going out on a limb. I'm taking a stab at it.
Hey, it's an Oscar nominee, man. Best foreign film.
I know it was. The first Vietnamese film ever nominated for an Oscar, even though it was not shot in Vietnam. Just happens to be An Tran Hung, who is a Vietnamese filmmaker, but lives in France and makes all of his movies in France. So it's basically a French film. You know what? This is the kind of film that I should absolutely adore. And for some reason, I don't. I find it kind of tedious. And I saw this at Cannes the year that it made its big, smashing debut. And I think he actually won the Camera d'Or that year for this.
Yeah, the Camera d'Or is this enormous door.
Yes.
It's got like a doorknob on it.
For those who don't know, the Camera d'Or is sponsored. Mark's being goofy. Camera d'Or is the one award at Cannes that kind of crosses all different sections. So in other words, if you're in the director's fortnight, you don't stand a chance of necessarily winning the official competition. And if you're in certain regard, you obviously can't win an award in the director's fortnight or the official competition. But they're all eligible for the Camera d'Or if it's a first-time film. So it cuts laterally across all the sections to give an award sponsored by Kodak to the best first-time filmmaker anywhere at the Cannes Film Festival. And I believe, if I remember correctly, that Hung did win for this film. But Anyway, this is from the Kino Lorber library, and the Blu-ray is dazzling. Now, it's been on DVD before, and it just happens to be re-released on DVD now in tandem with the Blu-ray, but forget about the DVD. It's all about the Blu-ray with this film. This is, all other things notwithstanding, a staggering, gorgeous, unbelievably beautifully photographed film. It is almost worth getting the Blu-ray just to show people how it captures detail in extremely difficult lighting situations. It is a great reference great reference Blu-ray to really show off what your television and what your system can do. So that notwithstanding, I kind of find the movie a little bit boring.
I'm kind of there with you.
It's it's a wonderful recreation of that particular that colonial romance period in Vietnam, but it's it's a romance. It's a very, very platonic romance that takes cuts across classes, that takes forever to develop, and I just felt like this was a guy trying to do a Wong Kar-wai movie without necessarily doing a Wong Kar-wai movie. So I would say In the Mood for Love is a better film that kind of has many of the same similar elements.
Don't make me sing.
But it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. All right, Mark, shall we, let's see. Let's jump.
Oh, come on. You're holding those Criterions
All
in
right,
your hand.
fine. We'll hit the Criterions.
Yeah.
A couple of Criterion Blu-rays this week. John Travolta and Nancy Allen in Brian De Palma's. Give it to me, Mark.
Blow Up.
Blow Out. Antonioni.
No, see, Blow Up. I think Blow Up is the visual.
Yes, Antonioni film.
The Antonio. That's the one where he thinks he sees something
Yeah.
that he took a picture of.
Yeah.
Whereas in Blow Out, Travolta thinks he hears something he took an audio recording of.
Well, what's interesting, here's the thing. This is when De Palma was kind of mimicking Hitchcock, and what's sort of cool here is that he said, you know what? Why don't I take both Rear Window and Blow Out or Blow Up and kind of marry elements of the two, and maybe even throw a few other Hitchcock films in there, like a little bit of The Man Who Knew Too Much and whatnot. And you do get a very interesting fusion here. I mean, I thought this film was junk when I first saw it when it was released, and I actually look back on it, and considering how crappy movies are now, I'm like, wow, that really is a kind of a cool movie.
Oh, totally.
Made in 1981, same year as The Dorm That Dripped Blood. This is a better film than The Dorm That Dripped Blood.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, you know how wide this was? I mean, this is like a ribbon on your widescreen television. This is 240.
Which is weird
wide,
because
widescreen.
Which is weird because it's not like a space movie or Lawrence of Arabia.
No, but he just knocked it out of the park. He said, "I'm going to make a wide movie."
Well, because he had done this right after he did this after he finished Dressed to Kill.
Yeah.
And I just think this is a terrific movie.
And you know what else is really terrific on here? I am not a Noah Baumbach fan. You are.
I am.
I don't know how they made this marriage, but there's an hour-long interview with De Palma by Noah Baumbach on here, it's really good.
There was a.
It's really good.
Baumbach helped. There was some sort of De Palma retrospective.
Yeah.
It might have been in New York. I can't remember, but I think Baumbach helped.
Who knew?
Arrange that. Yeah.
Who knew? Nancy Allen does a new interview on here. And
shot by Vilmos Zsigmond?
Yeah. Vilmos. Uncle Vilmos, Papa Zygmunt. We love him. Close Encounters, right? He won an Oscar for Close Encounters. Right. No, you also have De Palma's 1967 feature Murder a la Mode on here, which is a nice little kind of weird, groovy throwback tidbit to throw in on the extras. And you even get an interview with cameraman Garrett Brown, who was one of the first guys to do extensive Steadicam work in a movie on this. Now, this and The Shining were two of the first movies that really heavily employed Steadicam work. So it's very, very interesting to just from a film perspective to go back on that. So anyway, terrific. Blu-ray of
Gimme.
It's good.
I want to see again. Can you borrow?
And then Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas Blu-ray, baby. I hate this movie.
Really?
I so hate this film. You know why? Here's why I hate this film. First of all, not a big Hunter S. Thompson fan, because Hunter S. Thompson is a guy that no one should do an impersonation of, because he's doing an impersonation of himself to begin with all the time. And if you are going to do it, you'd better be Bill Murray and wear the buffalo robe.
Or you could be me, who once went to Vegas and took a hit of acid and walked around the casinos and felt like I was
Hunter S.
felt like I
Thompson.
was Hunter S. Thompson.
Okay.
I really did.
Well-
Don't tell my mother that though.
Okay, I'll just
That
tell
I-
her to listen to this show.
That I took a hit of acid while of ecstasy
Okay.
while I was in Vegas, and
There you
the
go.
carpeting started to move a little bit.
Okay. Groovy. Well,
True story.
Johnny Depp basically is not doing Hunter S. Thompson. Johnny Depp is doing Groucho Marx. He is. He's doing Groucho Marx in this damn movie.
Awesome.
I think this is when Terry Gilliam went completely off the rails. But that being said, look.
And by the way, you know when you see
it's the original Hangover. It is.
It's true.
It's the original Hangover.
But when you see Rango, which you didn't see, which I liked
I
a
know.
lot, that character,
Yeah.
the Rango character it looks like Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
In fact, the Rango one sheet looks like the
I know.
Fear
We
and Loathing one
talked
sheet.
about that. We talked about that. Well, anyway, Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro, completely overacting like crazy. Benicio del Toro with a huge gut. And I know a lot of people love this movie. More power to you. It's a great Blu-ray. It's got all the same extras in the previous Criterion release. And that's a lot, by the way. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff here. Great stuff, but you have to actually like the movie. The one thing on here that I almost think makes it worthwhile is a BBC documentary from 1976 with Hunter S. Thompson. So that's actually quite interesting. But he's such a larger-than-life character,
You realize who the original director was supposed to be?
No.
Lee Tamahori.
Was he really?
Yes, but he wasn't
Really?
available.
Oh, my gosh. What has happened to him?
I know.
And lastly, on the new movie front, before we kind of jump in and do a little bit of television here, is Jolene. Now, Jolene, there's a very interesting backstory to Jolene. This is directed by Dan Ireland, who has done a number of very, very good films, Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont and The Whole Wide World, which was the first film that Renee Zellweger kind of burst to fame in,
And
playing...
now she's dead.
Well, Vincent D'Onofrio plays, what's his name, the author who created Conan the Barbarian and all those things.
Melly Melstein?
Exactly, yes. No, that's actually a very, very good film, The Whole Wide World. And, good performance from D'Onofrio, good performance from Renee Zellweger. This is actually based on an E.L. Doctorow short story. And Doctorow was very fond of the film. Like, more so than any other movie based on anything else he'd ever written.
Even Ragtime.
Even Ragtime. But Dan Ireland ran into all kinds of roadblocks in trying to get the film finished the way he needed to, the way he wanted to. I mean, it turned into one of those independent film fiascos. And I know this because, you're going to laugh about this, Dan Ireland is actually a friend of Pete Hammond's. And when I heard about the problems that the film was having, I called Pete Hammond. I said, I want to help him out, and he put me in touch with Dan Ireland. I talked to Dan, and he said, yeah, it's at a standstill, blah, 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 blah. And about a year later, everything kind of thawed, and the movie was able to get its distribution and finally get properly released. But it was a hard road. And you know what? It's a little bit like an American Moll Flanders. This woman who... She's a young girl, and all of these just dreadful things happen to her when she's young. She's taken advantage of. Her first husband, he winds up committing suicide, and she's she's too young to be getting married to begin with. And then it's just this endless stream of adventures that take her through this, cascade of men and across the country. And it's really kind of sad and yet inspiring at the same time. The interesting thing about this is it's the first film for Jessica Chastain, who plays the lead part, who's very good in it. Should have gotten a lot more notice last year, but it just didn't get the distribution. But Jessica Chastain, do you know what she's going to be seen in next?
Oh, it's Star Wars.
No. It's in competition at Cannes. And it's
Oh.
the film that I'm waiting for more than any other film this year.
Really?
Yes, it is.
What is it?
Tree of Life, baby.
Oh, Tree of Life.
She plays the mom in Tree of Life.
Really?
So from, Dan Ireland launched another career, and now she's off and doing Terrence Malick stuff. I cannot wait to see that. I can't.
You know what? I'm trying not to read much about it because you'll wind up getting all crazy.
I know. I'm already crazy. I'm already harassing the publicists every week. I'm saying, is there a screening I can see? Please, before Cannes, please. I'll be silent. I won't tell anybody. Like on the podcast.
Who's doing that film?
I'm not telling you.
You're not telling me on the
No,
show.
really.
But
No.
when we're done,
I'll let you know. But I got dibs on the review. I'm just letting you know. I've already put the word in. I'm the guy. I'm the Malick guy.
You know what? I just want to crank out my quota, and that's it.
I reviewed the Thin Red Line, and I reviewed The New World, and I'm going to review this one.
Okay.
That's what I want.
You
want
got it.
I want my Malik. I want my Malik. All right.
He's really upped his
output.
His output. Well, it's only one film every 7 years now. Fantastic.
All right. Shall we do a little bit of TV, Mark?
Yeah, the PJ season 1. This was a big deal on Fox because it was kind of sort of this claymation film that starred the voice of Eddie Murphy. Woo! This is back when Eddie Murphy was sort of like kind of something. And this thing won a couple of Primetime Emmy Awards. It hobbled along for a few seasons. It never really took off, let's face it. Loretta Devine's also in it. Cassie Davis, the voice of Cassie Davis, also in it. And it's just about this family living in the projects. And
it's good animation. I was kind of surprised that it didn't last longer than it did.
Well, it's pretty funky looking animation. I mean,
but it was good.
But the animation, it's almost like animation like this you can take in a short.
Yeah, that's true.
But in a 22-minute episode every single week, that's hard to swallow.
It just had such great characters, good voices. I really dug it.
Well, Eddie Murphy was he's very funny in it.
Yeah.
So I'd pass on that. I would also pass on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the complete 6th season.
The French Prince of Bel-Air?
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, the Fresh.
Yes, the last season of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. 24 episodes on 3 discs. And
I know how you feel about it. It's probably a little bit how I feel about the next two that we're going to talk about.
But this had the blooper episode, though.
I know.
Season 6 had the blooper episode.
Well, there you
That's
go.
funny.
That's great
I like
stuff.
that one.
You know what? It launched Will Smith's career. It showed people that he was not just a rapper, that he could act.
I love Will Smith. He's awesome.
I know.
Totally charming.
Yeah, he is. The complete 3rd season of According to Jim. This is the worst tagline I've ever seen here on the comedy begins at home. Really? That's going to... Ooh, what a great tagline. Let's turn that on.
All I know is that in more proof there's no God.
Yeah.
Fate took away John Belushi and left us with Jim Belushi.
It's not a terrible show, but it's another one of those like honeymooners knockoffs, right?
The fat middle class dad
with the long suffering wife who's way too hot for him, who's always got to be putting up with his juvenile shenanigans. I mean, truly, you watch this and you just go, he's just doing Jackie Gleason. That's all he's doing. But it's okay. I mean, it's not a terrible series. And 3rd season, it's kind of getting its sea legs, and it's a decent show, but there's nothing spectacular here. If you're a fan, fine. If you haven't discovered it, there's no point in discovering it. Likewise, The House of Pain, Tyler Perry's House of Pain, I should say.
Boo!
I
don't like Tyler Perry. I respect him, don't like him.
I like him and I respect him, just don't like his TV shows. This has 24 episodes. They actually number the episodes. This is Volume 7, episodes 125 through 148, if you're keeping track. If you're a fan who actually knows, oh my gosh, really? That's got episode 132? That's great. You know what? It's not a good show. It's really obvious, and for some reason this show has a following as well. It annoys the crap out of me. I just can't watch more than about 5 minutes at a time, so more power to you if you're a fan of it. I will say I'm also a bit perplexed by the popularity of Glee. Now, Glee Encore is not episodes from Glee. This is for people who just want to see all the musical numbers put together. Like, this is literally back-to-back musical numbers from the first season, and that's it. It's just nonstop music. And I guess that has you could have done this as some kind of a branching feature, with the first season. You could have just included this as like an extras disc. It doesn't have to be a separate release, but I guess they got to milk people for all the money they can. So if you already shelled out for the first season, they're going to try and get you again. Do you get Glee, Mark?
The first season it came out, I saw a couple clips at the office. I work at a cable network, and we get preview clips, and it seemed kind of cute, I have to say.
It is kind of cute, but it gets old.
I haven't really warmed to it otherwise, but the clips I saw look cute, but I'm not of that demographic.
Yeah, I guess I'm not either.
I'm not a woman.
Anyway.
I'm not gay. I'm not 13 years old. I was never a Glee Club member.
It's on Blu-ray. And it's a very nice Blu-ray. 20th Century Fox, doing a better than average job. I ripped on them this week, by the way. I haven't heard. I may get banned from their screenings. I'm waiting to see, because I actually kind of gave a backhanded compliment to Water for Elephants on NPR. I said it was, considering how terrible the last 10 years of 20th Century Fox films have been, I said this was refreshingly average. Let's see how that goes over.
Oh, so well.
Yeah.
I don't like American Dad, Wade. I'm a big fan of Seth MacFarlane's stuff. I love Family Guy. I can't stop laughing at Family Guy. Cleveland Show I don't like, and this show I don't like. American Dad. This is volume 6. My God.
Yeah.
18 episodes.
I can't believe it's been around this long. I know.
I really can't.
Yeah.
It's about a CIA operative. This guy Stan Smith, and he's got a wife and a couple kids, and there's an alien lives in a house and a talking goldfish, all that sort of stuff. Decent special features. There's audio commentary on select episodes, which is kind of disappointing. There's deleted scenes, and there's a couple of making ofs, whatnot. But ultimately, I'm just not a fan of American Dad. I feel like it's trying too hard. Sometimes there's some good political commentary in there, but it's just trying too hard for me. It just feels like there's the alien. It sounds like Paul Lynde, and there's the talking goldfish, and it's not organic anymore. It's trying too hard.
Well, see, that's how I feel about
Family Guy.
Family Guy, yeah.
But Family Guy is just like all Family Guy has is a talking dog.
Yeah, right.
And a talking baby.
You know what? After 14 years, South Park still going strong, still really funny. Somehow they just keep it fresh because they're not trying so hard. They know where their bread is buttered. This, by the way, this 14th season, which they sent to us on Blu-ray, and which, despite the fact that the animation is like the most rudimentary, intentionally crappy animation in television history, looks great on Blu-ray. I mean, you can actually tell that they're cutouts. It emphasizes
it looks
how
very construction papery.
You actually can see the grain on the paper.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's
cool.
great. It just emphasizes just how rudimentary it is. This, by the way, this season, the 14th season on Blu-ray, not only contains the bonus episode The Coon. I mean, seriously, who else has the nerve to name an episode The Coon? It has a 3-part adventure. A 3-part adventure. That's 1 part longer than the Menagerie. That's the same number of parts as the Fembots. Okay? As the second Bigfoot adventure with Jamie that crossed over to the Bionic Woman. 3 parts. That's how important a 3-part adventure is.
Yeah.
Where they reveal the identity of Mysterion. There you go.
Ooh.
I know, right? And then, lastly here, the complete second season of Growing Pains, starring Kirk Cameron, who has now become just a guy who only shows up in right-wing evangelical Christian movies about the rapture. That's all he does now, and occasionally a documentary about the rapture.
Wait, on May 21st, the world comes to an end.
You're sticking with that.
I'm not, but they are.
I know they are. Who's that guy again?
Harold Camping.
Harold Camping. All right. Well, there are no extras on here. You know what? This show ages absolutely terribly. Alan Thicke, I'd forgotten what a strange-looking man he was back in the 80s. He really is just a peculiar-looking guy. He had that talk show for 10 seconds and then showed up on Growing Pains. He really looks like Jaime on Get Smart, doesn't he?
Yeah, like Dick Audier.
He really has this very strange, non-human appearance. It's deeply, deeply disturbing. Now, the only reason I ever particularly liked this show was for Tracy Gold. I thought Tracy Gold was terrific on the show, and then she wound up having all kinds of problems.
Isn't she the one who was anorexic or something?
Yeah. She wound up having all kinds of problems. But anyway, no extras. But if you're some kind of a weird freaking nostalgia buff, go for it. And then lastly, I want to get this out. A little British television thing. We've got the 40th anniversary edition of Upstairs Downstairs Series 1. Mind you, not anything else. Series 1, the 40th anniversary edition, the original from Acorn, with 6 hours of new bonus material, which is pretty great. And then, in addition to that, from BBC, there is Upstairs Downstairs, the new version, which is actually, I think, in many respects, better than the original. So you can, that comes in kind of not a very substantial digipack, but if you want to get the old and the new on, they are both out this week. So it's a good time to at least do some rental of the old Upstairs Downstairs and the new Upstairs Downstairs and compare and see which one is more upstairs and which one is more downstairs. I think that's it for this week, Mark. Yeah, that's it. So, we got no screenings this week, do we?
I hate movies, Wade.
I know. I'm getting there, too. It's a very depressing time.
Thor's supposed to be good.
Well, let's hope. We can only hope, right?